So hi all, welcome to another video lecture. In this lecture we will see what is the difference between summarize versus summarize columns in DAX. So both of them, they are DAX aggregation functions. So DAX provides functions to group and summarize the data. First function is summarize, which is used to create a summary table for the requested groups. Next is the summarize columns, which is an improvised version which is better designed for performance and capabilities. Let us look at the summarize function. The summarize function has this particular syntax. It accepts a table, then it accepts the column name on basis of which you are going to group it, and you can provide multiple columns, and you provide the name of the particular column that you will be creating and what is going to be the value in that particular column, that is the expression. Okay, so what are the benefits? The benefit is that it is flexible and it allows calculated columns. The consequences is that it can be ambiguous and it might return unexpected result with relationships or filters. So in summarize function, right, it does not respect the filter context. It does not have any provision where you will be actually giving the filter value. Now in summarize column, this is the particular syntax. You do not need to specify the table name. You just need to specify the name of the column on basis of which you will group it, and you can mention multiple column names. Okay, then you give the name of the particular column and then the expression, right, which you are going to use, which you are going to populate, right, in this for this particular column name, right. So what is the benefit? It is better. It performs better. It removes the ambiguity and it honors the filter context more reliably. Okay. The consequence is that it is less flexible than summarize. So summarize function, it is more flexible to use. Okay, but summarize columns, it has much better flexibility. Okay, and it honors the filter context more reliably. So you can apply filter expressions within the summarize column, which we will see practically. These are the key differences. Summarize requires a base table, summarize column does not. Summarize column respects the filter context more accurately. Summarize may return unexpected results in complex model. So in case where there are tables which are which have more complex relationship, it is much better to use summarize columns than summarize. Summarize columns works much faster and it performs much better compared to summarize function. This is one practical example. So summarize is where we specify the sales table, let's say the product category, comma, total sales, sum of the sales amount, right? So what it is doing, it is trying to find out the sum of the sales amount, grouping it by the products category. Summarize column is also doing the same thing. Now it is not specifying the table. Okay, it is directly specifying the name of the column on basis of which you will group it, and then it is going to go ahead and give you the total sales value. Okay, now when to use which function? Use summarize when you need complex expressions and flexibility. Use summarize columns for better performance and straightforward summarization. So in most cases, summarize column is recommended to use. The conclusion is that summarize and summarize columns are powerful tools in DAX. Understanding their differences ensures accurate and optimized reporting. Choose the function that best suits your data model and reporting needs. Okay. So an additional point is that both of these functions, right, they do not work with row level security. Okay, and they also don't work with direct query as well. Okay, so that is something that is common in between both. Okay, if you go to the documentation, official Microsoft documentation, you will find that this function is not supported for use in direct query mode when used in calculated columns or row level security rules. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us see this in practical. Okay, what is the difference? So for practical purpose, we are using this Walmart sales table. If we go to the table, we will see this. Okay, and we have this where we have the store ID and where we have the weekly sales. So now what we want to do is we want to find out the total sales, okay, the total weekly sales, and group it by the store ID. That means for every store, right, for every store ID, we want to find out what is the total weekly sales. Okay, and we will group it on the basis of the store ID and the dates as well. Okay, basically not the dates but the year that is present, right? We want to group it by that. So let us go to the table view. Okay, and let us go ahead and let us create a new table. Okay. So let us call this table as table summarize, and both the summarize and the summarize columns, they both will return tabular value. Okay, so table summarize, so let us first use summarize. Okay, and now within this table, right, what we are going to use, we are going to give the value Walmart sales. Okay, we need to specify the table. Now on what basis you need to group it? Okay, so we need to group it on the basis of the store ID and on the basis of the column year. Okay, the year, that is, okay, column year. And what we need to now do, that we need to provide a name. The name will be, the name of the column that we have to calculate is total sales. Okay, comma. Now what is the expression? What do you want to calculate? We want to calculate the sum of the weekly sales, right? So we will give calculate sum of the weekly sales, right? And what will it do? It will try to go ahead and create the weekly sales on the basis of store ID and the column year. If you can just see, right? If I hover, if you go back to Walmart sales, this is the column year. It will extract the year from these particular dates, right? So same thing I have gone ahead and I have done it over here. Okay, on the base in the table summarize, I have used this column year over here and the store ID, correct? And I have created this particular summarize table, right? So if you just see for store number 1 for the year 2010, that this is the total sales, correct? If you go down, okay, you see for table for store number 1 for the year 2011, this is the total sales. So it is summarizing everything, right, on the basis of store ID and the column year, right? If I go ahead and if I remove, let's say if I remove this column here, right, what will happen? The sum of all the store IDs, the sum of all for all the years for a particular store ID, they will all get added up and they will give you the result. Okay, so if I go ahead and remove this one, right, what will happen? What the value that I will be getting here for store ID 1 now will be for the column year 2010, that is 2010 plus 2011 and plus 2012. Okay, if I go ahead and if I hit on enter, you see you will get it for all the values, the sum total value for all the store IDs. Okay, you will get it, right? You will get this. So but if I go ahead and include the column here, you will get this particular table, right? So this is how summarize table works. Okay, and now within this, if you want to use filter, you cannot use filter. Okay, it will throw an error. Okay, but let's say now I want to use the filter context. In that particular case, what we will do, you use the summarize columns function. Okay, so for that, let us go ahead and let us create one more new table. And now in this new table, right, let me name this as summarize calls. Okay, and here what I will do, I will use the summarize columns, and now it does not require the table name. You can directly specify the group by column name. Okay, so I want to group it by the store ID, and I want to group it by the your column year, correct? Yes. And now I want to specify the name of the column, that is total sales, that we want to add in the table, and the expression. So expression will calculate the sum of the your weekly sales. Okay, and now if I go ahead and hit on this, you see it is giving me the same value, right? But now here is the difference. Here is the difference. Where is the difference? What I can do, I can go ahead and I can apply a filter here. And within this filter, what I will do, I will use the Walmart of sales, and Walmart of this column year, Walmart of the column year, right, will be equals to 2010. Now if I go ahead and if I hit on enter, only the values for the column year 2010 will be displayed. This provision which is provided for the summarize columns is not provided in your summarize function, right? You cannot do this functionality, you cannot perform this functionality for the summarize function, right? This filter context is not present. Okay, so this is probably one of the most important difference between summarize function and summarize column. Another difference is that summarize column, it works faster. So it works much better for DAX optimization. Wherever you use summarize function, you can probably use summarize column function to improve your DAX query. Okay. Now there is one more point that I need to discuss. Okay. If you want to use filter context along with the summarize function, you can do that as well. Okay, there is a much better way of doing that, and it will give you the same result as this summarize columns function. Okay, so the function which we will use along with this is calculate table. Calculate table, it will accept a table which will obviously come from the summarize, comma, you can now add filter context to it. Okay, so I will be adding filters. Okay, and within the filter I will be adding, it will be coming from Walmart, and Walmart sales of Walmart of column here will be equals to 2010. Once I use this, you will see that it will give you the same result as summarize columns. See, it will give you the same result. So probably this is the reason why summarize columns, it actually works much faster compared to summarize function, right? Because if you go ahead and if you use this one, right, this will definitely take more time compared to an individual summarize columns. That's why it is always advised to use summarize columns instead of summarize function. Okay, it will perform much flexible and it will perform much better. Like probably not flexible, but it will be much better and much faster, and it performs much better. Okay, so that's it guys. That is the basic difference between both the functions. If you have learned something new, then please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to press the bell icon for notification. Thank you.